Happy International Women's Day. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to be celebrating sisterhood. My name is Jessica Corvo, and joining us, we have Stacey Bournes. Oh my goodness. If you guys don't know Stacey, you need to. She needs to be part of your daily. She is inspiring, she is empowered, she is strong on so many levels. And my favorite part is on how gentle and graceful she is. So she adds this element of beauty to every single thing that she touches. And a lot of people, I believe, are either in that do mode or be mode. And the thing that I can appreciate about Stacey is the fact that she just has that delicate balance in between both. And so she's constantly producing different music and different art and different ways to express herself, which I just find absolutely inspiring. And funny story, I don't know if you remember, but I think it was back in 2013. We met in Hong Kong, or I'm sorry, in Singapore years before, and you were having some kind of really big like coming out or art type thing in California. And I was taking a road trip and because I was leaving corporate and I had a lot of family stuff going on. And I just remember like all the love, all the excitement, all of like the amazing thing. In my head, I remember the event as you going into California riding an elephant. I don't remember the details of the thing, but do you remember that event?
Yeah, I remember
It
it.
seems like
Yeah.
years ago, like a lifetime ago. But I remember, just getting so excited because Stacey is one of these people where, you can share a moment, be 100% present, but then the next time you connect, it's like you never skipped a beat. And it's just, you're always inspired because it's always something magical and larger than life that's happening. And I think that in itself is the essence of sisterhood. It's you don't need to be in your lives day by day. It's when you are able to connect, it's as if nothing changed. And
Yeah.
that happens when you're surrounded by empowered, strong females. And so it brings me great pleasure to introduce and to share this space with my dear, dear, dear sister, Stacey.
Thank you so much, Jess. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's amazing what you said about the creation, because I'm honoured that you recognise that. I always actually kind of have used creativity as a tool to help me, and I always wanted to share it with other people. I always wanted everyone together, everyone creating, because I know everyone's got something different, and when we all put it together, we do crazy amazing things. And yeah, I think right now it's more important than it's ever been, and it's more kind of presence like within yourself to go like I feel like the world's been having a bit of an identity crisis. Like, I've definitely had one over the past sort of 8 years or so, because I think we all start off kind of being who and what we think we're supposed to be, and we try and fit into all these little boxes, and you try to be, we have all these things that we're told since the day we're born. And for me especially, it was always like, oh, you're so tall, you should be a model. And I didn't ever realize that actually I'd never enjoyed that. Actually don't like being in front of the camera. I'm just more of a, I would rather be creating or doing something rather than kind of, and the thing is with that, it's like when you have a career that's very based on how you look and how you present yourself, you can overly identify with that, and it can definitely take you away from who you really are. And yeah, I think after I left LA, that was obviously a very eye-opening experience and crazy and amazing, and I met so many angels. And just traveling, like when we met in Singapore, that was before I'd even gone to America. And then I always loved music, but I couldn't really share it with anyone because I was too shy, and I didn't really believe that that was something that was kind of an option for me, that was available for me. I thought, no, I couldn't possibly ever. But when you just create for no reason other than it just feels good. And I think, a lot of times people say I'm not creative and I can't really, it's just that we haven't spent time nurturing those aspects of ourselves. And it's more about taking the time to kind of get to know yourself, to know what it even is, how you would like to express yourself, or and it doesn't matter about it being good either. I don't think, like, I think it's it's more for you. It's not about what other people are going to think, and I think that's something that people have gotten really lost with, because it's all become about how it looks and how it appears rather than how it feels, and the kind of like, it's cathartic. Art is really personal, and it can really help you to kind of understand yourself. Like, my music has really helped me to channel emotions that could have been really destructive into a harmless place that doesn't hurt anyone, and maybe somebody else will enjoy it as well. You know, it's not, it's just an outlet, and I think right now we kind of need as many of those outlets as possible, because the energy just gets so built up in it. You can get weighed down really, really quickly and be on kind of like a downward spiral really easily if you get sucked into, because we're living in a, you just couldn't imagine really like the world that we're living in. It's just unimaginable, the things that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. And
I think you bring up so many solid points, because I think that for me, that magical moment when I'm admiring other people, it's when they're lost in their moment,
yeah,
because they're not creating for other people. It's just, I'm in my bubble. This is what makes me feel good. When I feel good, the world feels good. And when the
yeah,
world feels good, it opens up all these avenues and all these paths for me to continue to do what I'm doing. And I think, like, for you, that's what I just love, because every time, like, we have an interaction, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm stepping into Stacey's world. This is so cool. And it's just, it's a place filled with intention and filled with love and filled with, all sorts of different, like, kind of, bumping around in a very, like, gentle way. And so I think, like, that is something that I would like to honor and definitely, highlight just a little bit for you, is on how every time that I've experienced a portion of Stacey's world, it's been beyond magical, because it's not you're creating for other people. It's not that you're creating for, society. It's that you're expressing yourself. And I think that is a very big difference, because when people are expressing themselves, it gives permission for everybody else to also express themselves. And you can see it in the eyes, because the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? So when you're expressing yourself, you can see that twinkle, and you can just see that kind of like embodiment, and you can see like that presence that you don't always see. I mean, if you look at stage performers, because like you touched on music, so if you look at a lot of other stage performers, when they're on stages and filling up the giant houses, it's a 50-50 on if they're still creating for themselves or if they've kind of sold out to become a little bit mainstream. But when they perform in, I don't know, like their favorite drinking hall or hole in the wall or dive bar or something, it's almost like a completely different performance, because that's when they're expressing themselves. That's when they feel safe. But plot twist, you're always safe because you're complete with who you are.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting you bring up that thing about safety as well, because it's that's one thing that I think we all have to kind of start from scratch with that and build a foundation for ourselves where we actually feel safe. Like, not just feel safe, like we actually get our central nervous system to register that we're safe. Like, it's one thing when you've been through a lot of traumatic things, which we all have in the past years, everybody, you can really get stuck in that kind of like, and it's like that breath, like you can't take a breath, and it's such a crippling place to be. And I think we all kind of go through our stages of getting stuck there and processing everything and the new world that we live in now. And I really think moving forward, it's just so important for everybody to take time, like, with themselves, to kind of, it's almost like daily, like, interrupting all patterns and like putting yourself in a space where you're completely present. And that's what music helps you to do. Like, for me, it's like whatever your thing is, it's something different for everyone's got their, but when you're completely present and in that moment, because the mind is a creation machine, the function of the mind is to create. That's all it does. And if it's not focused on a positive, constructive task, then it can easily get into a negative, destructive task, or get caught up in drama, or there's a million wrong things you can look out there and be annoyed about, but that doesn't serve you. What the best thing I find for myself is I take that energy, that sometimes I see things that like injustices and things that have happened to me or whatever it is, and I feel so angry. But then now, whereas in the past I didn't know what to do with that anger, and I would go out and just like have road rage or whatever and cause a scene or get in an altercation with someone or whatever, because when you're on that edge of like, you're like a ticking time bomb. But when you have,
it's true, I am Italian, I get it.
and everybody at the moment, we're all just kind of walking around like at the end of our tether, aren't we? Like everyone is just kind of like, I don't know how much more I can take, kind of. It's been so hard in so many ways, like, and we've all had so many challenges and stuff, but when you are able to channel that energy and take it to create something and use it to create something beautiful, or well, just doesn't even have to be beautiful, just something that's not destructive. You're not hurting yourself, you're not hurting anybody else, you're just getting rid of that energy, it's just flowing it out. And that is a gift, and that's why it doesn't matter so much how it's received, because the gift is in the creation, in the moment that you create it. That is, you get everything you need, because
the journey.
Some, you know, there's been times where I've had moments, and I have over the years really struggled with controlling my temper. Like people that knew me a long time ago know, people that know me now can't believe it, but it's through work, like, because I've really worked on it, and kind of really taken these past years, like since I left my old life and the modeling and all of that stuff, I said, right, do you know what, from now on I'm not going to entertain myself anymore. I'm not going to do just, I'm going to spend my energy building myself and like exercising my gifts and my talents, because I put them away for so long and they were killing me, like that unexpressed, all these things and these ideas. Like if you have an idea, I think that is like, that's your soul. Like if you have a creative idea, that's your soul trying to manifest through you. And if you ignore it and ignore it and ignore it, it's like that whisper gets quieter and quieter, and you just get less and less content, and eventually you get so unhappy that you don't, like, that's where I got so unhappy in the end. I just didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know, I just lost myself completely, which was actually a good thing, because then like reconstructing myself, and I'm lucky to have family that, you know, have given me the space and time to be able to do that, and like get back to like, who is Stacey? Like we all have to get back to who we were when we were 4 years old. What did we do then? Be that person. Like that's the goal, isn't it?
I think like you bring up so many valuable points. I mean, going back to an untrained mind, the mind is so magical. I mean, thoughts become words and words become things. So we are consistently manifesting different things on a regular basis, whether we want to acknowledge it from the conscious mind or the subconscious mind. Everything in our world is what we've thought about. And there was a quote, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but an untrained mind is like a puppy in a living room. So like a little puppy in the living room going poop all over the place, right? And so if you don't train your mind, you're like, oh my goodness, I gotta clean up another pile. And I think like psychology, they call it like sublimation. And that in itself, like, I mean, on my personal journey, I've struggled with, I'm avoidant. And quite honestly, I'm not avoidant. I transmute. I transform different things. So similar to you, I will feel big emotions. I view emotions as messages from the soul and energy. Everything is energy. So I've been given a gift with, okay, now I have this emotion that's cropping up, whether it be anger, fear, whatever, happiness, joy. what am I going to do with it? Because I always know that I have a choice. So what am I going to do with this emotion? Well, if I take a step back and realize this emotion is energy, cool. Let's do something with this energy. And then you just make a decision. And I think that's where a lot of people, they lose the connection to self, and they lose that ability to understand they have a choice. And so psychology even calls it sublimation, where you have a socially unacceptable situation and then you convert it into a socially acceptable situation. I think there's so many judgments in that, because I just, whatever. But for me, I think if you need to have a cry, have a cry. If you want to convert. You want to just sit with it, sit with it. It doesn't matter.
Don't keep it. As long as you don't hold on to it and
Exactly.
keep it and live in it, that's the only thing that you don't want to do. Anything else is okay. As long as you're not
You can
hurting anyone
acknowledge it,
else.
but just don't wallow in it. And it's just like,
Yeah.
okay. And that's like what I love about being able to transmute or transform or transcend. Because when you were talking about like the anger and being able to kind of like have that, and maybe it translates into road rage, or maybe it translates into, having a disagreement with somebody else, being able to release that is important. Being able to recognize and then transform is magic. And it's just,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, even for me, I just moved house. So for me, my way to deal with the stress of moving house, because a lot of people consider moving a trauma. I'm just like, but it's exciting. I have a new space. Subconsciously, I'm like, I'm stressed out. Like, this is a lot. And then I converted into, let's just honor the people that I'm grateful for. And here we are for International Women's Day. So I think
Just like that. Yeah. Just like that.
it's actually, but it's extra energy. I don't, society will call it stress. For me, I'm just like, I got energy. How am I
Yeah.
going to affect it? What am I going to do with
And
this?
that's just the judgment that we place on it. It is just energy and it is just neutral. It's just we say that's bad, that's good. But yeah, it's just energy, and it's all about how you direct it and learning how to do that for your own sanity and mental health and for the people around you. Like, honestly, I've spent the last 6 years really just trying to find my joy and make myself happy again, for my sake, but also for the world's sake, because I can be a real not a nice addition to the world. Like, when I'm not happy, I'm not spreading anything nice, or like, just even just you just notice walking down the street, like if you're walking down the street and you feel good, just every person that you look at, you're radiating that out, that smile. You have to have a smile to give a smile. But if you're walking down the street and you're just kind of scowling at everyone because you're so miserable, you're just you're just sending out energy, and it's all coming back to you in some way. Like, everything comes back, right? So it's like, right, okay, how do I just orchestrate my little bubble? Like, how do I build my little kingdom,
Yeah.
so that that energy that's coming and flowing out is of a good quality, and going to create things that I actually want back.
Absolutely. But I think like at the same time, it's also about the art of receiving, right? So again, like I love the fact that you're so graceful with yourself, perhaps a little judgmental, but definitely graceful. So like when you're having one of those like, you know, human days, it's not a bad day. It's human. So if you're having
Yeah.
one of those human days and you're
Oh, I
like,
have
oh
loads
my
of
goodness,
them.
can we fast forward to tomorrow, please? and and somebody sees you, walking through, and if they know that like, oh my goodness, this is Stacey, and she just is like such like a wonderful like bright light, and today, maybe it's a little bit of raindrops. And I
Oh
think
yeah.
the gloomy days are just as important as the sunshine days, because at the end of the day, you need a little bit of rain and a little bit of sunshine to create rainbows, right? And so in context of being able to receive, this gives an opportunity for other people to be part of your community and to offer you something. Because with me being a strong female, and you can relate to this because you are an incredibly strong female, if you're constantly the person that shows up for other people, then it ends up being kind of a lopsided thing, because people stop asking you if you need help or what they can do to help you, because they automatically assume that you always have everything, which then leads to isolation, self-isolation, and could lead to other mental instabilities, specifically because you need that element of community or sisterhood, right? So subconsciously, you're actually creating isolation for yourself, because it's like, I got this, I got this, I got this, but you don't realize it. And so by having those real vulnerable moments where it might just be like, I'm in it, I'm having a day, I'm in it.
Yeah.
And it allows other people to step in and say, yo, sis, I'm here for you. What do you need right now? And I think that is like something that resonates from the delicacy of my perception of you. It's just, you have this incredible strength and you have this incredible ability to do. At the same time, you also have this incredible vulnerability of being able to be. And you don't, in my opinion, you transform that when you need to transform it, but you also sit when you sit. Like, even talking about this whole sisterhood, celebrating sisterhood, the amount of times that you were just like, I'm gonna meditate on it. I'm like, get it, girl. Yeah. Yeah. See what happens. Like,
Yeah.
those are magical words to me, because it's, you're breathing it in. You're allowing that feminine energy. You're allowing yourself to really feel what feels right.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And we can get bullied into feeling like we have to say, I've got, now everything's so fast, it's like, oh my God, I've got to answer everything, do everything right, and like everything's instant. But sometimes it's like you're actually making more work for yourself and more piles of poop, But when you sit and you kind of let it then feel like, how would that feel? How would that feel?
Yeah.
Is this the right thing? Kind of, yeah. And I think, yeah, just anything that, having the right people around you, and it's knowing who you can be vulnerable with, like, and being wise about who you kind of open up to and allow in. But those people that are in your like inner like your circle, that you trust them, that they're always going to tell you the truth. It's so important to have that, to have the sounding boards to just
Absolutely.
bounce off. And yeah, being honest about how you feel is important too, not just always saying I'm okay, I'm fine, when you're not. That's very, very bad. It leads you to just feeling terrible.
Destruction. I mean, I was a toxic positivity person for the first 35 years of my life, and it was just like, everything's good. It's like, but really, no. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, and then you go home and you're crying. Yeah, I think we've all been there, because we were told in the kind of generations that we grew up with, it was so frowned upon to have, it's like, I'm fine, everything is all good, like we're just, yeah. But it's like, no, it's not like, it's not always like, yeah, it can't be, it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think being human is just such a beautiful experience. It wasn't until, I think, probably 2, maybe 3 years ago, that I actually fully embraced the gloomy days, and I thought they were beautiful. And I've said this in like other interviews and interactions, where I had a badge of honor where I only cried. Only 5 people in the whole world had seen me cry. And I was just like, this is a badge of honor. I'm like, I'm so strong. People see my smile, but they don't see my tears. And then I was like, why did I have that as a badge of honor? And then, like 2, 3 years ago, when I started really focusing on my inner work, that's when it was just like building that safe place, building that community, having that trust system, knowing who to trust, having that evaluation system of just that inner strength of, what, this is what I'm going through, and this is what I'm doing, and this is who I am. And if you want to honor that, cool, you get to stay. If you don't, that's cool too, but you got to go over there. And I think being able to have that in the mind and in the heart, we have so many assumptions and expectations and kind of entitlements on what we hope and what we expect people to do for us. But once we learn how to show up for ourselves, then it becomes a very easy kind of like flow with like, oh, well, that was kind of disappointing. I wanted you to be part of it, but it's not our time. And so it becomes like a lot more gentle and graceful approach to kind of like bumble through life, rather than like
Yeah, I think it just does come with experience and wisdom, and just going through enough. Yeah, you just get to know yourself. It's everything that you experience, you get to know yourself a little bit better. Like, oh, I didn't know that aspect of myself. Wow, why did I do that? Or like, and then it's like, instead of judging, like when I obviously was in the modeling industry, it makes you so hard on yourself and so critical, and you're always being told like you're not this, you need to be more this, and you get told like opposing things in the same day sometimes, and you're constantly trying to squeeze yourself into this tiny little box of what somebody else wants, and you just, yeah, I think eventually you just get to a point where you just like, I mean, now I was going to put some mascara on today, but I don't, it's been so long since and I
You're
remember a
beautiful, by
time,
the
it's
way.
been
You radiate, you shine.
I remember a time, like literally, where I would not go to answer the door if I didn't have like a full face of makeup on. Like I wouldn't answer the door. Like, I wouldn't even think of it. Be like, oh no, I can't. Or and I think about all the things that I stopped myself from doing because I was so desperately trying to hold together this facade, and like the amount of time that I spent on it, and it was all because I was trying to, because I basically, I suppose I didn't really accept myself, and I was trying to fit into this ideal that doesn't exist. And I one day was sat and I was like, wow, I wonder how many hours I've spent like getting my hair and makeup done. It's probably years of my life, like, and when I think about it, I'm like, wow. And making that decision to just kind of, not that, I mean, obviously you should take pride in your appearance and be grateful, and your body is like such a sacred and precious thing, you should absolutely take care of it. But it was like when I was in my baby consciousness and everything I was doing was to try and achieve a certain form or something, whatever, and what ended up happening was that I was getting further and further away from myself, and I ended up being a prisoner in that form. And so then when I just got to the point where I was like, right, now I'm going to just I'd always been interested in self-development and all that stuff anyway, but then it was like from one extreme to the other, like I shaved all my hair off. It was like to just free myself completely, and then I had all that time to just work on, my like just music and my gifts, because even the greatest talent has to be nurtured. If you've got the best, like you're naturally talented and gifted, you still have to exercise that talent, you still have to build it. It doesn't just happen and stay there, it's like, but everybody also had to start somewhere. Everybody wasn't always, and I think we can be so, because you see like with social media and stuff, and I really notice this now because I kind of obviously have been away from it all for so long, and now I really see it. I see like the pressure to keep up and to just constantly never really be like, you're never
Everything is
being like,
performance. Everything's a
running.
performance. It's the highlight reel, which I think is like super important for you to be able to share like your journey and all the things that you're doing right now, because how many people are able to be at the level that you were at for modeling and for the physical objectification. I mean, that's what it is, right? Because
Yeah.
we are honoring our vehicle rather than the engine, right? And so for a lot of times when we have that objectification, and then being able to be resilient through all of that, and then still have even like your baby awareness, right? That this just doesn't, there's something missing, there's something doesn't feel right. And then being able to transform that into everything that you're doing right now, I just think is an incredible example of a journey for everyone that is still in it, right? So for the people that are still doing all of that, the modeling stuff, and whether it be runway or whether it be print or whether it be, I can't even imagine what that does to the psyche when you know what you look like, and then if it's print, to have all of those edits and modifications and everything to it. And now when women see, I mean, even men too, when people see your own personal journey on how this is what you did when you were playing by society's rules, it didn't break you. You used all that energy and to create something else. You've now given permission for other people to do the same thing, which I just think is magnificent. I mean, on so many different levels. And so I think, like being able to just take a step back and just honor that. Like, yes, we've been talking about the journey, we've been talking about, you know, like being human, but bringing everything like back together to really honor the fact that, number one, not everyone does the journey. And number two, not everyone shares the journey. And so the fact that you're doing both, you know, doing your own journey, and because you reference like multiple years, right? So 8 years or whatever. So being able to do that journey on a consistent basis to reconnect with yourself and then being able to share it with the world, I just think, like, I got goosebumps. It's
Thank
just such
you.
a powerful thing. And, you know, this is one of the reasons why you're part of my sisterhood. And I'm tickled that you accept me as part of yours. I think the world needs more people like that.
Oh, and more people like you, Jess. I mean, you've done just since we met, and it's so true, because obviously we have got one of those relationships where we do, because we're always in different parts of the world, and we've caught up here where we can, like, oh my god, we're in the same place, we're on the same continent, amazing, like. And all those years, like, we've just completely always come right back together, and it's been exactly the same. Neither of us have, we have changed a lot, but we haven't at the same time. Like, the core of who we are is still the same, but we just got stronger, I guess. And yeah, it's lovely to have that, to have those relationships where you grow together. And we will, I mean, till I'm sure it'll be the same, like when we're like old ladies, like, what are you, I'll be like, oh Jess, I've just learned how to play the flute.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, who knows? Maybe in a couple of years we'll be able to teleport one another, you know, to different places. I don't think
That's
it's ever that
probably going
far.
to be the next thing, isn't it? I would think teleportation. That's probably not that far away now.
The George Jetsons.
Yes.
We're gonna be in like those little, you know, rather than cars, the levitating, like crafts, and flip a switch, and all of a sudden we're in a different part of the world. I think we're not too far from that. But
Yeah,
so
it's changing so much.
absolutely. So tapping into some of the stuff that you have, that you're creating, I know that you're such a productive and a involved person, not busy, productive and involved. So very important. So very important. I know that you have a couple of projects coming up. Tell us a little bit more about the projects that you guys are working on.
So I have been working on for quite a long time, actually, because one of the things that I've always loved to do, I've always loved like making clothes, and obviously being in the modeling industry and stuff, and I've always been kind of building a vision of like, oh wow, I would do it like that. And the one thing that I do want to see is like a more sustainable, I think we all do, we all want to see a more sustainable fashion and everything industry. You know, I think this is the one thing that's happened, is that all of our eyes have been opened, and we've really been able to see some of the ramifications of some of the things that, you know, that we've been doing. So yeah, so I've been working with iamborn, with the team. So iamborn is basically a collective, a global collective of creative minds, and it's different, just basically the amazing, they're like my diamonds. Like, I sifted through so many rocks, and along the way collected like these diamonds, these amazing people like you. Like, you know, we've got amazing people around us, and I just, yeah, I've always been that person. Like, when I was a kid, I would always get everybody's like chairs and everything, and get them to come and sit down, and I would put on a show, and it's just what I did since I could talk, you know. And it's like, so having this platform where we can all showcase our gifts and our talents, because one thing I noticed with a lot of creative people, they're not actually very good at kind of pushing themselves forward and displaying themselves, because they're just so busy doing it, and they're not all about like, look at me. Like, it's actually quite hard for them, because I think it's really personal thing. You're like bearing a piece of your soul, aren't you? It's so they're not, so to have a platform where we can all kind of come together and create the things, so the sustainable fashion that's going to be coming out this spring, and just music and shows, like the shows that we had an amazing show in at the Lip Studio in downtown LA just before I left, and that was an amazing, I always like to make the show the show's kind of sensory and engage all the senses and use like smell, and like sometimes we'll have them be blindfolded and just have different things going on. So because the one thing, and I do love intimate performances, I will always do intimate performances, because everybody's having a completely different experience in that moment, and I just love that everyone is having their own individual little moment with themselves, with each other. And so there's definitely more of those shows to come, which I'm really excited about. There's been a lot of things, a lot of music, obviously, all the time. I was writing, I just never, I for myself, like I've written hundreds and hundreds of songs over the years, and it's been like my own form of therapy, really, I suppose, just for me to, and a lot of them I'd never had any intention of even sharing. I was just like, no way, no one can hear this. It's way too personal, kind of. But then I realised how selfish that is, because though some of those songs really helped me.
They're gifts that the world needs.
Yeah, but like some of them have really helped me a lot. Like some songs have just come and they've helped me to get through really difficult periods in my life, and they've like helped me anchor myself and find the strength, like, and I just, yeah, just to have that gift. And it was from my grandmother, you know. When I was growing up, she loved music. She had an organ, and we would stay up late and play on the organ and sing and watch Queen live in concert and have midnight snacks. And she was always the one that kind of pushed me to explore music. And she worked so hard. She had 4 jobs. She was a waitress, cleaner, she worked in a factory. She always worked so hard for us. And I always used to say, Nan, go on holiday, Nan, spend money, do this. She was like, no, because I need to know that you guys are all taken care of and that you're going to be okay when I'm not here. And I'm like, la, 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 la. I couldn't even talk about that. I was like, don't say that, Nan, you're going to be here forever, la, la, la.
Absolutely.
Kind of, but then now, and she passed away when both my grandparents passed when I was in my early 20s. And now looking back, how I used to feel sad for her, because I used to think how hard she worked and that she didn't really ever get to experience very much in life. And I was sad for her because I thought, you know, she never got to explore those talents, like only on our like midnight snack and concert nights. But other than that, like I have access to be able to do things that she couldn't even dream of. And I was like, she died with her gifts inside her, like she died with them in. And then I realized she didn't, she gave them to me. And when I really realized that, and I was like, wow, do you know what, she, all these years, 16 years later, she's given me such an amazing gift, and she's given me a space to be able to kind of rebuild myself and to explore and unbecome everything and rebuild myself. Like she gave me that sanctuary, and it just really brought home to me the importance of how everything you do really is creating a legacy. It's like in years to come, there's an actual physical thing that happened because you did that. You know, you don't think about it when you're living life, but then sometimes things happen that make you really realize, and it's like, whoa, this is serious.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they think that community and, you know, collectives, or I don't know, everything from the physical world. So it's about, you know, your friends and your family and all the other stuff. But when you look at it from a spiritual perspective, you actually are the vehicle for your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents, your great great grandparents, and all the different things that they had experienced. You have that power within. So if you have, you know, great grandparents that were migrating, or if you had, you know, laborers, and being able, again, everything's energy, right? So they have all that energy and they have all that consciousness and all those decisions and different priorities. So with your grandma, it was harnessing that relationship between you and her, giving you that strength. And then you being able to, once you're ready, being able to do something with it. And I think, you know, that in itself is just such a beautiful moment and such a beautiful story to share, because she could have been out sharing that with everybody and they might not have connected with her, but she knew that you were going to connect, even if it wasn't in that exact moment. She saw the magic within and she knew that you're going to be able to do something about it. And so I think that is just something that, I mean, again, I get goosebumps like thinking about it, because I'm the same way with my grandfather. I mean, I had, you know, like memories like all over the place. I have a hat when I'm feeling a certain way, and I have like a red sweater that like is like my warm hug on a hot day because when I put that on, it's just like grandpa's here. But like when I'm having one of those moments, it's the same. And I think that when you have that journey back to self and you realize all the energy that flows through your veins, it's pretty magical. It's pretty awesome. And again, I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you.
I'm so
And
proud of you too.
I love like everything that you are involved with and everything that you touch and everything that you represent. I can't say it enough. It's, you embody, you know, grace and presence. And in a world where we're just so busy, 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 it's not productive. We're just busy. We're distracted. And to be able to take a step back and just be like, yo, like your videos, like your moments on Instagram, they're not very often, but when they do come up, I'm just like, for real, she's watching the flowers talk to each other. She's walking through the grass barefoot. Her toes are in some water right now. She's grounded. She's like doing really good things. I'm pretty sure she hugged that tree and she enjoyed the sun kissing her cheeks. Like, these are moments. It's not just like a picture. I'm just like, I feel it. I know what Stace is doing right now and I love it.
Nature breaks are amazing. That's how I like when I'm working on something. If I'm like, so I'm working on a project at the moment where I'm creating a song with somebody, and I'll sit and I'll just focus, and then just taking like a 10-minute little walk outside, or like we've got some chickens, you've seen the chickens down the garden. I'll just go down the garden and just like sit there, and I'll be thinking of what I'm going to do, and I'll just sit there and be looking at the chickens, and then all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, that's the line, and I'll run inside and record it. And like, it just came when I stopped trying, you know. Like sometimes I'm like trying, and it's like if you're trying too hard, it's like letting it flow through. That's the hardest thing, because like for years I was like trying to be instead of just being.
Yeah. It's like you get out of here and you get back into here, and that happens, right? So like, I think nature is just amazing. Like in my new apartment, I have not missed a single sunset. Even if I'm teaching classes, I'm like teaching classes with the sunset in the background. I'm like looking at my students. I'm just like,
wow, that's so beautiful.
And it's magic to me. That's magic because it's, you know, how often are we able to slow ourselves down? Where if you're watching your chickens, they're actually having conversations with each other. They're having their little powwow. They're having their tea party.
Yeah.
People are just like, no, they're erratic. I'm like, no, they're not. They're communicating with each other. Don't you see it? And like for me, it's with the sunsets. It's when you slow it down, you actually get to see the colors change a little bit more, a little bit easier, because you can see the colors go from gray, like white fluffy, to purple, and then to gray. And those are just the clouds. And then if you really get still, you're just like, oh my goodness, we got the fluffy ones, we got the waspy ones, we got like different layers. And then you can actually see them dancing. And it's not just all of the clouds are going the same direction. It's they're morphing. They're like connecting. They're like, I don't know about you, so we're gonna diverge. Oh, yep, I like you, so we're gonna converge. And it's a dance. It's a dance in the sky. And how many people are able to slow it down enough to see this? It's not just a sunset.
We're missing all, there's so much, and that's what I thought one day. I was like, wow, when did the sunsets get so beautiful? And it's like, no, you were never present. You were too busy painting your nails, doing your eyelashes, doing your hair, like doing all these things that you had to keep up with. You didn't have time to look up and see that, you know. It's like, and I'm not saying that those things are, you can't do those things. I'm just saying it's about balance. Yeah, about balance. And as long as you kind of spending as much time and energy and effort on building your inner self as you are on perfecting the vessel, then you're okay, you know. But it's got to be a balance, otherwise it's like too much of anything is too much, isn't it? And not in only enough. It's everything's about balance in life. That's what I'm noticing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's, you know, fill that cup with love. The only thing that you can't have too much of is love. But at
Yeah,
the same time, once that cup is filled, it is your responsibility to share it with others.
yeah. Well, it just bursts out, you know. And that's the thing, if everybody truly learned how to love themselves on the planet, like, I mean, could you imagine if, because I look at myself now, because you don't realize when you're harsh and critical to yourself, you're like that with everybody else as well, and you don't even realize it's just your normal dialogue. So kind of that's another thing I've been working on, because I do a lot of like kind of for myself affirmation, kind of like things that I notice, like when I notice a discrepancy in my personality, I'm like, right, and I flip it and make a positive statement or affirmation, and then I record it, and then I just reprogram it in my mind. Like every time I notice a little something about myself, I'm like, oh, you know, that's not really coming from a place of love or whatever, I just make a little note of it, and then when I've got enough, I just put it to some music and I create an audio, and then I will just have, I don't know, in the morning, for example, like I'll wake up, and then when I'm half awake, half asleep, I'll just play it, or at night before I go to bed. And it's really helped me, because I've been able to kind of, it puts you in, first of all, that doing stuff like that, it empowers you to feel like you're in control. And when you do notice something about yourself that you don't like, instead of beating yourself up about it and being harsh with yourself, you're actually excited, because you're like, oh, there's another little bit, and it's like like more exciting journey, rather than being like a kind of, I don't know, I just think for me that's really worked. And so I've done some of those that I think are quite universal, that we all could benefit from, so I'm going to start putting some of those audios out as well for people, if they, because the best thing is when you do your own, obviously, because you know what you need to work, but you don't know how to do that at first. You have to kind of know how to use your words like that. But words are so powerful.
I
So
think
powerful.
it's like, I think it's absolutely incredible, because the song that you have in your bio on Instagram, I listened to it multiple times. And each time that I've listened to it, I've been in a different emotional state. So I get different messages from it. There's different parts that kind of speak to me. And I think that is an incredible part of creation and connection, right? Because you're listening to something, it's activating something within. It doesn't matter what state you're in. But on a day where I'm a little bit maybe looking for connection, and I'm just like, all right, I'm tapping into my community. You're part of my community. So I'm tapping into some of your creation in order to get inspired to reconnect with self, as an example. Then I can see like the beauty in the journey from disconnection to connection. Other times it's like, I can see, if I'm, you know, having a little bit of a sad day, I can see the sadness and the struggle. And then when I'm having like a really good day, then it's like I can see the empowerment and just this is who I am, and take it or leave it. So it's interesting, because when you're talking about the audios, I'm so excited and so overjoyed to be able to experience that, because I know that on one level, this is what you're using in order to transform, you know, the different nuances, but you're doing it in a gentle way. So I think that, you know, is powerful, because it's accepting what you are, making a decision if you want to keep it. Does it still serve you? Being able to do something constructive with it, and then being able to share it, I just think is an incredible process. And knowing that this is something that's coming from your heart, not your head, but something that's coming from your heart, and it can inspire other people. It doesn't mean they have to do that same exact journey of, you know, some like a blemish or an imperfection. I mean, I think there's no such thing as imperfections. Imperfections are perfections. They're nuances. But it could be like a nuance that you decide that is no longer serving you, and so you just want to kind of transform that. And that could be, you know, helpful for other people to also have a way to transform, or have a way for people to say, well, actually, I kind of like that. I kind of like that. I think I'm gonna keep it. And so it has both, like, you know, the strength and the grace. So it has the, you know, the acknowledgement, I think, is just very important. And so I just want to give you another big up for that. And I think you're incredible. And I'm just so
And
excited.
I think you're incredible. I'm so thankful that trip to Singapore was so random. I ended up there with Fiona, and it was just so random how we met. But then we just were like straight away, like, you're my sister forevermore. It was
One of my favorite pictures. We were at one of the bars in Clark Key, and they had, I don't remember what it was, but they had like wheelchairs. So random.
yes, it was like a hospital kind of, and they served all the drinks in drip bags.
I was like, I don't
That
know
was
what
so
I'm
random.
doing. It's so weird. And there's like one where we're just laughing hysterically, and we're in like the wheelchair. We're just having, you know, like a grand old time, and it was just like just nonstop giggling. And that is like how I embody you on any occasion. It's just this pure light and this pure joy, and it's not happiness, because happiness is a fleeting emotion. Joy is a state of presence, in my opinion. So
Yeah,
I just think that, you know, you embody joy, and I'm so tickled. And
that's exactly the same. You are exactly. Thank you, Jess. Thank you so much. But yeah, you are that also. I'm just a reflection, and that's the beauty of it. Everything is a reflection, and I think just sometimes opening a space, putting something in it, you're offering people the opportunity to explore something within themselves, isn't it? We're always doing that for each other, and
yeah.
yeah, I'm so thankful to have you on this journey. It's
Oh,
been
well, thanks. I mean, stronger together, right? Everything is be your own hero, connect with self. And then once you're connected with self, you can connect at a deeper level with others. And I'm just, when I breathe in, you know, what it means to have sisterhood, when I breathe in what it means to just like be present, and when I breathe in what it means to have unconditional love, I mean, you're always at the top of the list. And it's not, again, we don't have the relationship where we're in each other's lives on a regular basis, but it's that presence that whenever we need, either one of us need to tap in, we're going to show up. And I think that is just magic beyond magic. I mean, that to me is unconditional. That is just, you know, it's an appreciation for, we're both on our individual journeys. We both have the intention to support as best as we can, whilst also having that realization that we're still human. And so sometimes things just aren't possible. So I think that is trust, being able to express, you know, what we're going through. That's love, with always assuming magical, you know, intentions. And then I think that that is just joy, because that's presence, and that creates that safe place where we're able to just dance and be childlike, and, you know, encompass all of these purities that, and the vulnerabilities that some people don't have the honor or the pleasure of sharing or experiencing. So
like, we block them off, don't we? It's like life can make you, and that's the thing, it's like it can make you close your heart, and in the end it's like we said, you're the result of billions of years of evolution. The fact that you're here in this moment, in this second, is a miracle. And what you choose to do in this moment is just, you can do anything. You have free will, you can go in any direction you choose. And it's not about letting the world make you anything and becoming a product of the world. You create your world, and then you be who you are, and you don't let the things, the negative things that happen, close your heart, because only you suffer. You're living in a world with a closed heart, and that's not nice.
absolutely.
Like, yeah,
Absolutely. So I'm going to request one of these audios, or one of these things, a cappella style. Do you want to do a little
well,
short
I
performance for us?
let's
Whatever's in your heart to
see.
just, I'll give people a little teaser, a little sample.
Well, we can I can actually, let's see, I've got my guitar right here, so let me see, I can
So
play a
casually, I
little.
have my guitar over here. I'm like, yay!
I do have my guitar here. So yeah, I would. There's a song that I wrote a long time ago, actually, called Inside, and it's it's a song that's helped me through so many moments. So I think it's about 5 minutes long. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. I'll sing it for you. You need to toughen up, he said. You create your own luck, baby. Don't listen to them doubters. They will only drive you crazy. Might take a little time, but there really is no finish line. You don't have to worry, you'll be fine. I'll take them treasured dreams and make them mine, all mine. People achieve the impossible all the time. And no one's supposed to know what's inside. You're supposed to show them. You are the architect of your life, of your mind. You need to unbecome, he said, until you are a little baby. Do what you did back then, don't worry if they call you crazy. There's no such thing as time, so there really is no finish line. You don't have to worry, you'll be fine. I'll take them treasured dreams and make them mine, all mine. People achieve the impossible all the time. And no one's supposed to know what's inside. You're supposed to show them. You are the architect of your life, of your mind. I am alive. Show them what's shoulder.
That was beautiful on so many levels.
Thank you.
The message, the journey, the personal kind of declaration, the theme song, it's
Theme.
it's that.
Lots of people try to tell you who you are, but it's only you that decides, really, ultimately, at the end of the day.
Yeah, I, in my heart, I was just like, it's not a fight song, it's a theme song, because it's very aggressive, and it's a journey. So it's just, it's like that bumbling through, but it's that empowering, because it's that slow build, and then it's just the acknowledgement of, from society into individual, whilst at the same time just getting that strength and that warriors. Oh, I'm so excited. Do you have a working title for the song?
Oh, that song is called Inside. So there's a lot of songs. Like I said, there's hundreds of songs that I've written over the years. So what I'm going to start doing now is releasing. We have a song, Get Back, that you've heard, and I wrote that song a long time ago as well, but it's so relevant for right now. And I wrote that with Thomas. He did the music, Thomas KR, and he is an amazing musician. Has the Lip Studio in downtown LA. It's like a legendary place. We'll have a show there again. So we just thought it's time to release that into the world. But I've been collecting images from the creators that we love, and we've been, different people have been, because the song is called Get Back, and it's about getting back to yourself. And it's always about the same thing with me, really. There's a theme here, as you can tell. But I just thought it would be a really nice opportunity to open it up for co-creation. And so I've contacted one-on-one some of the creators that I love and admire, and I've been collecting images. And it's kind of a project where I would like it to serve as like a time capsule, for a time capsule for all of us, of this crazy time that we're going through, and kind of giving people an opportunity to use some of that creative expression and come and join us. And so anybody that has any images or footage that encapsulates and captures the crazy and amazing time that we've been going through, the beauty and the destruction, the breakdown, any of it, if they can forward it to me on iamborn, if they can forward a link.
We'll get all the details. We'll put all the details in the video for you.
I just want to invite as many people to get involved as possible, because I think the more people that are just focusing their mind on positive creation, the better right now. It's hard to keep your mind out of dark places sometimes, I know, like we all know. So yeah, just the more we can create together, the better, I think.
Absolutely. So I love that. So just to repeat for everybody that's listening, this is the call to action. Check it down in the bio, check in the top of the video. I'll put multiple places. Contact Miss Stacey at iamborn and be part of her magnificent creation. This is going to be a collaborative for everyone to submit pictures, snaps, whatever, moments, just moments of the entire transformation and the collective awakening, if you will, of everything that we've been going through with the pandemic, because the year has been magical, beyond magical.
The most transformative one so far, I think, collectively.
Go out, you gotta go in, right?
Sorry, what was that?
You can't go out, you have to go in, right? So
well, that's it. Yeah, inside is the new out.
Absolutely. Well, Miss Stacey, I am so grateful. Thank you so much for being able to share this space, and also this this love and just this sisterhood. And it brings me tremendous joy to just know that I'm on this journey with you, and that we're bumbling about together. And just thank you. Thank you for being. Thank you for just creating. Thank you for being. Thank you for, being an inspiration. And thank you for, I don't want to dismiss the intensity of being able to do your own journey. A lot of people don't do it because it becomes too much. So the fact that you've done it and that you found multiple ways by your themes, get back, or inside, or any of these different ways, they might be similar messages, but they're going to reach the hearts of people in different ways. And I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much, Jess. Thank you for the opportunity, and it's always a pleasure to see this face. It always brightens my day, and I hope the rest of your calls are amazing, and sending so much love to your people over there, everybody.
But yeah, we have a wonderful day lined up. I mean, we have, musical stylings from you. We have art from Switzerland. We have some coaches and therapists from Kenya. We have, other coaches from the US. And I mean, the whole day, workouts from Germany.
Wow. It's global.
Literally.
Amazing. Well done. Well done. No, it's a lot of work to bring these things together. So I know it's definitely. So thank you on behalf of everybody for making the effort and making it happen. If anyone can, Jessica can.
It's a pleasure to be able to bring light to all of my light makers and all of my magical women. So I think, this day has a very special meaning, because last year, in the last couple of years, you kind of forget about it. And then this year I'm grounded to a space where I woke up this morning and there's like 15 messages from people saying Happy International Women's Day. I'm like, well, yeah, absolutely. This is like, and I'm celebrating my women. I was like, this is so great. So
well, enjoy it. Have an amazing rest of the day, and I know you will. And I would look forward to seeing you very soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll get this uploaded, and we will share it with the world and have everybody contribute to the project. I'm so excited.
Me too.
Thank you, Stacey.
Thank you, Jess. I love you.
I love you too.